300,000 refugees in recent years, and you're sat there saying that we are not humanitarian? What planet are you living on? You've got to see this. Matt Goodwin calmly and confidently dismantled political commentator Fahamer Mohammed live on air. There was no shouting, no drama, just a series of calm, measured responses. Fahamer came in strong, challenging the anti-immigration stance, but Matt stood his ground and wasn't backing down. Well, I think you know the problem here is Labour used to be the party of the people. Now it seems to be the party of the professionals, and it's copying reform instead of leading. It's chasing, and it's mimicking things that people did not vote for them in the first place. And I think that is the real problem. And also, it's not just about the fact that they're not actually clamping down on immigration. There are so many other issues that needs to be raised which the Labour Party stands for, like welfare, education, the NHS. We've got so much shortage of.
Did you know over 95% of our viewers aren't subscribed? Subscribing is free and helps us create more great content. Hit subscribe now and join our community.
Two things happened this week. Firstly, we learned immigration is the #1 issue in this country.
Only because that's the only thing we've told and spoken about.
Okay. So this is what's interesting, Michelle. This is the left narrative. We're all
no, it's not. I'm not the left. Why do you call me the left?
Can I finish? We're all talking about immigration, and that's the reason.
We're not all talking about immigration.
Can I finish? We're all talking about immigration. That's why immigration is the #1 issue, as opposed to it's nothing to do with the record numbers of people who are actually coming into our country.
Yes, everyone's talking about it. And no, shouting the loudest doesn't make you the voice of the nation. Immigration levels have hit record highs. And where's the government in all this? Right where you'd expect, pointing fingers, making empty promises, and occasionally Keir Starmer pops up with a lukewarm "deport them," as if that alone will solve anything. We've been watching this political theatre from day one, and frankly, people are tired, really tired.
And the second thing we've learned this week is 85% of Brits want net migration reduced below 100,000, and nearly half the country want zero migration. And you're acting as though Keir Starmer is kind of speaking up for this mad, extreme fringe. Most people in this country want less immigration. It's not that hard.
Well, I'm sorry. Now I really do feel that you are basically trying to talk for everyone when it's not the case. Everywhere else, they do not just only mention immigration. It is much more. It's the only rhetoric that I hear from people like yourself, and I'm not calling you far right or right or anything. So don't call me that, because there's certain things that I even agree with when it comes to the other side. It's not about that. We have to do so much more to get this country back in order than just immigration, and that's not going to erase any of the economics and the problems that are there. So it is really not that. It's just what you want to raise and everyone else.
She's calling it just immigration. Seriously? That's incredibly out of touch. Brushing off Labour's lack of a clear migration policy, if it doesn't matter, all while the country is crying out for some real control. And as for the economic arguments she keeps pushing, let's sit down and have an honest conversation about that, because it's not as simple as she makes it sound.
As I say, it's the #1 issue in the country. That's the British people.
Because that's the telescope right now that's been put on.
That's the British people who are saying we don't want to have to deal with these record numbers of people, many of whom are breaking our laws. And it's the British people who are watching this show who are being asked to pay £15 billion over the next 10 years, 5 million a day for hotels and accommodation. You talk about economics. How about we take that 15 billion by fixing the illegal migration crisis? And how about we have 10 new hospitals for the British people? Why don't we do that?
Well, why can't we also fix the processes in the first place? It's been so long where people are waiting for their immigration status. They are not actually being processed properly. We don't have the staff. We do not have all of that. But all everyone is talking about, like as if it's just the migrants' fault themselves.
She's twisting his words. Matt made it clear. Immigration isn't just one issue, it's the issue. It's the root cause feeding into everything else, including the economic mess we're in. Think about it. We've got hundreds of hotels filled with asylum seekers, costing taxpayers millions every single day. It's not sustainable. It's bleeding the treasury dry. This isn't a strategy, it's a disaster. And how do they plan to fill the financial black hole they've created? Simple. They come for our money. Thanks for that, Westminster.
And this is not fair. The state is now taking British taxpayers' money, giving it to private companies like Serco, who are outbidding the British people in their own housing market, to give more favourable contracts to illegal migrants and asylum seekers. You talk about fairness. My question is, how is that fair?
They are not doing that for everyone. At the end of the day, you have to understand they are all not criminals. They are all not here living in hotels. They all don't have the benefits like you think. A lot of them are wanting to work. They're just not given the process to do that. They are also needing to
Do you think they should be allowed to work?
Well, if they are going through a process and they are actually filling the sort of criteria that meant to be, because at the end of the day, every country has taken a certain amount. I do not think that it should be overly exaggerated with regards to everyone being criminal, everyone here being economic migrants, and they are just here to cause havoc.
While working-class communities are left to face the harsh realities of grooming gangs and rising crime, Fahima seems more focused on performative outrage, preaching compassion as if she's on a TED stage. It's disappointing that she doesn't appear to show the same level of concern for the actual victims. Let's be honest, her outrage doesn't seem to be about the people affected, but rather about preserving her party's image and protecting her own community's interests.
300,000 refugees over the last 3 or 4 years.
Well, you know what? At the end of the day, we have to understand that they are doing what they feel that they can. They don't have the means all of the time to come through certain...
Everybody should just do what they want.
No, it's not. There should be tougher sort of legal processes here, done quicker. And they also need to be much more tougher laws with regards to making sure that they are not all seen like how you say, which they're not. Otherwise, they will be charged and imprisoned when they land. They're not charged and imprisoned because they're not seen as criminals. They are seen as someone who needs refuge. So we need to be able to process that. I don't believe that the boats is the best way to come. Obviously, it's causing so much damage when it comes to people losing their lives. It's not obviously the legal route. But at the same time, if you are fleeing and you are needing help and you wanting it, just because we're sitting here and we don't have those, those kind of experiences, or we don't know of people that have, it's so easy to just criminalize them and make them all when they are actually also very vulnerable.
Now there's a moment. Fahima Muhammad passionately pointing her finger at Matt Goodwin, urging for compassion and safe havens. And on the surface, it's a beautiful sentiment. Who wouldn't want to offer refuge to those fleeing danger? But here's the thing. For many ordinary people, the only space they seem to be getting in return shows up in police reports, courtrooms, and endless waits for housing. Fahima champions safe spaces for refugees, and that's fair. But things get quieter when the impact hits home. When once quiet towns start appearing on crime maps, people feel the difference. It's easy to speak about ideals when you're not the one living with the daily consequences, isn't it?
Starting point is always, what about the rights and the sense of fairness for people who are coming from outside of the country who are breaking our law? I'm sorry,
they're not all breaking the law. They're not all breaking the law.
You live in some fantasy land.
No, you live in a very different land.
The British culture is based on the notion of fair play, which is if people come into the country...
Which is humanitarian as well, refuge. And it's also Christian for you to also not be so hostile like you and talk like you and put everyone in that sort of boat like they are.
300,000 refugees in recent years, and you're sat there saying that we are not humanitarian. What planet are you living on?
You don't even need to watch the whole clip. This one moment sums it up perfectly. We're being lectured about humanitarianism, British values, and morality by people who once benefited immensely from this country. And now, as the UK gets mocked and labelled a soon-to-be third-world country, just for showing a bit of compassion, those same voices are back, not with gratitude, but with criticism. They're scolding us for doing more than most nations would ever dare to. It's not just insulting, it's completely out of touch.
So easy for you to say when your family is not being, bombed and they're not actually being
asked to pay for the crisis. I'm a taxpayer.
So
I work hard. Everyone watching this show.
So am I.
Right. So why should those people be asked to spend billions of pounds every year on a crisis that their leaders refuse to fix?
Well, then it's not their fault. It is the politicians' fault to get it right and to get those processes right.
The crisis.
Yes, the crisis. But don't just blame the sort of migrants that are coming. It is to do with the politicians and people like yourself who are in these kind of, big sort of parties that are putting the blame on the wrong people and the wrong side. It should be fixing policies and making decisions that is also within rights of the humanitarian sort of and international law and looking after the British values. Not to say that, some of them are going to be criminal, but again, you put everyone under.
I'm not going to take lectures on what are British values.
I'm not giving you a lecture. I'm just giving you my point of view, like how you're giving me.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Next UK, your go-to for real stories and sharp analysis.